ENGL Steve Morse signature 25 watt amp, which you can, I think, goes down to 5 watts, if I remember correct. No, down to 1 watt. Full power, sorry, full power is 20 watts. Then it's 5 watts, 1 watt, and speaker off. And with the speaker off, you don't need to have a cabinet connected. You can use the built-in IRs, because there's a IRs that comes with this, and I'm gonna try that too. So the song you just heard, I wrote inspired by this amp, and since Steve Morse was part of Deep Purple for many years, you know, the intro, the main riff was kind of Deep Purplish, and then the second was just, you know, minor and major dyads in a different key, and the solo was just balls out minor and major pentatonics and chromatics and a little bit Aeolian mode and whatnot. But yeah, as you can hear, it's pretty convincing. So the signal chain is this is one of my signature Euge Eclipses from ESP. This one is with the Duncan distortion pickups, both in the neck and in the bridge. The neck one is a little bit not as hot as the bridge, which I like. Ceramic magnets, pretty cool. Then into the pedal board, and I used wah in the beginning of the song, and now when I noodle. That's a Jim Dunlop's, the custom audio electronics wah. Then into the amp. And the cabinet I'm using, the usual, what I always use, my oversized Mesa from '94 with V30s and Eminence Carnivores. This time I was miking one of the, all of them are mic'd, or 2 of them, but I was using a single SM57 in front of the V30. So yeah, 2 channels, clean and overdrive, and then there's a boost, there's built-in reverb and delay, built-in noise gate. I didn't use any of those, except I used the gain boost, because it's kind of, to me, like, you know, you would have a Tube Screamer or something similar in front. So it just, well, added more gain and tightened the low end a tiny bit and added a nice presence. So let's have that now. It's on, and I'll bypass it. You hear the low end gets tighter and nice presence, a little bit more gain. Let's put that off and tweak the controls. The controls they're kind of fairly subtle, you know, their range, which I think is totally understandable, since this is Steve Morse's amp, so it's voiced how he wants an amp to be voiced, and then you can do kind of minor, well, not as drastic, you know, EQ moves as on some other amps and some other ENGLs I've tried. So let's start from the gain. Now the gain is 11. That's where I had it on the song, and obviously when there's no gain, the amp doesn't get any signal. So the gain is also could be labeled as preamp volume, like on 800s. So how hot the signal the preamp tubes get. The hotter the signal, the more overdrive. They overdrive. So quite a lot of overdrive. I'm having the 40 Zool now on. Let's take it off. Let's put this noise gate on. Doesn't seem to do much. Let's tweak it a little. Where's the noise gate control? Here. Huh. Well, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but the noise gate doesn't seem to do much. Now the 40 Zool, it's in front of the amp. So I believe the amp is just so quiet, and the noise that what you were hearing came from the probably my signal chain, but the Zool takes care of that. Okay, so noise gate, yeah. Okay, then let's put the gain back to the 11 where I had it. Tons of gain. Bass. Like as you hear when but there's no low end, I mean this is a passive EQ, so this is kind of when it's full, it's like how it is, and then you're only cutting stuff. You know, from full to around noon, there's not that much effect. Then you can really hear when you are like here, like 10 a.m., 9 a.m. I think I had it somewhere there, 1 o'clock-ish. Mids, there's not much effect on the mid, so I believe this is just, you know, voice just like Steve Morse wants it, and then you can do small, you know, changes. Now it's fully off, like scooped, and it's still not very scooped. Full on and you get a little quack, but not much. I think the middle is kind of the sweet spot. There, yeah, middle. Treble. And now it's full, and it's still fairly smooth. I think I have it there, which is exactly where it was. So it's a little bit over past 3 p.m. So and there's no presence. The clean channel has a presence, and this treble knob, it's like on many amps, like on SLO. I'm gonna compare it just that you get a reference. The treble is more like upper mids, and the presence is more like highs. So I feel this treble is somewhere between, kind of like where usually treble and presence are on many amps. So it's not boosting really like upper mids where what the treble usually does, and it's actually closer to me, more like a presence, like a smoother chop, like higher in the frequency range. Now it's full. Just there. Me personally, I would have, well, this is not my signature amp, this is Steve Morse's, but I would like the treble to be a little bit more upper mid, so I could actually make this amp a little bit nastier, because this is fairly smooth amp. And then have the separate presence control to add that, you know, top end smoothness. But it's not a big deal, but just that you are aware that this is a very smooth amplifier, and clearly not as aggressive and, you know, hard hitting as like a SLO or 800. And then we have the clean. Let's actually switch to the clean channel here. Okay, gain is now 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. So you get a nice little crunch from the clean also. Let's add some Core C5. Okay, more presence. I would probably crank the presence, because like I said, this is really smooth amp. So yeah, presence full on clean. Let's go back to the lead channel, which is the overdrive channel, and then there's the gain boost that I showed. And then there's MVB, which is like a master volume boost. I have set now to, I think it's Unity. Let's tweak it. I can't see what is the knob. But the idea is, you know, if you have a foot switch, this works like a MIDI, with a MIDI foot switch, you can add just more volume for your leads. And then the reverb. You know, you can have reverb if you want. I'm not a big fan of reverb on guitars. Then the delay. I much rather use a delay to create kind of ambience. And this is I'm gonna take the pictures of what they are, because I don't actually know. I think they are dead center, like all the knobs in the back. Oh, I had the chorus on. Let's take the chorus off. Oh, the delay is really nice, kind of smooth. It blends nicely in the background. Gain boost. Yeah, I like the delay. Okay, this was the... Yeah, nothing on. Okay, let's compare it to the SLO. So this is fairly loud. The master is like 2 o'clock. I had the SLO master like 4.5, and they should be similar. So this is the SLO. As you hear, there's quite a bit more of that presence bite, which I like, which makes it a little bit more nastier. Okay, Morse. SLO. Yeah, that bitey, matter of personal preferences. I've always liked a little bit of that kind of bite. And then in the mix, if you feel that there's too much, you can take it out. But you know, it's a great. I think it's really cool amp. A tiny bit smooth to my taste. Like I said, I would have liked this treble to actually. Because let me show you with the SLO what the treble does. So it adds this upper mid bite. The presence. That kind of adds the smoothness. With this one, this is kind of like the presence control on a SLO. The mids don't add the presence either, or the upper mid treble. So again, like I said, this is voiced for Steve Morse. To me, the voicing is a little bit smooth, too smooth. Treble, I would like that it actually, the frequencies will be lower, like upper mids, and then separate presence to control, like you heard with the SLO, to control the smoother top. Because I really like to have the upper mid control. Different speakers, like Greenback has a lot more than V30s, at least. And my V30 is actually pretty smooth, that cabinet. So yeah, okay, but yeah, sounds cool, smooth, lots of gain. Middle control doesn't do that much at all. Now let me put this to standby and these two, and I will connect the XLR out to my audio interface. So let's check out the impulse responses that comes with this. Okay, so now the cabinet isn't connected, and it's the first. There's 5 IR slots, 3 that are reserved to the IR this comes with, and it's ENGL 212 VHB V30 cabinet, then it's ENGL 412 VSB V30 cabinet, and ENGL E412 XXL with V30s cabinet, and slots 4 and 5 are reserved to your own IRs. Okay, let's check it out. What? No. Okay, let's check out the next one. This was the 2x12. This was the second 4x12. What the? This is the third XXL 4x12 with V30s. Yeah, I'm not surprised, because I've borrowed many amps and these smaller amps from Musics. Thanks again, Musics, for letting me borrow this. And I haven't found an amp that the built-in IRs are actually usable. So to me, these IRs, they sound horrible. So yeah, I'm not gonna load my own IRs because I don't want to hook this to a computer, because you know I need to return this like as it was without any hassles. So yeah, I recommend using a real cabinet or another IR loader, or trying to load your IRs here. And then you can, let's check. So this was not like, now the IRs were post power amp, but I believe there's a switch where you can set this to a where it was, I think it was here. So now it should be after the preamp. Even worse. So now there's no power amp. It's just the preamp. So I guess this is if you want to use a power amp sim or emulator or whatnot. But the IRs, there's a lot of room for improvement on that department with this amp. Conclusion: pretty cool, kind of smooth, a little bit too smooth for my taste amplifier. The IR section, based on what you just heard when I tried it, is not very convincing. Actually, to be honest, horrible. But yeah, so check out the links from the description below to Music's website where you can purchase this, and also to ENGL's website for more information, because I probably forgot something. Hopefully you found this interesting and informative. Until next time, take care. Bye.